64 years strong, where your brand belongs. St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to level up your business with the biggest ad sale of the year. We've got it all at crazy discounted rates. Radio, TV, and social media. Wanna make big sales? You need to be where the people are. And guess what? They're tuned into ZIZ, the #1 broadcast network in the Federation. Maximum reach, unbeatable deals, and 64 years of trusted media power. Don't get left behind. Secure your spot now before they're gone. Call our marketing team at 662-8203 or email sales@ZIZonline.com today. It's ZIZ March Madness. 64 years strong, where your brand belongs.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Good morning, St. Kitts and Nevis, and welcome to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today, Thursday, March 13th, 2025. When we open the phone lines, you may call us at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. This conversation is live via our TV Channel 5, as well as our social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube. Check us out at ZIZ Online via our YouTube channel and ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation via Facebook. Again, good morning, and thank you so much for joining me in the program for today. Let me also greet those of you who are listening from other parts of the world. So good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today I want to look at crime and violence and the work of the Citizen Security Secretariat here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I am going to reference an article speaking to the success of the national effort where we all played a role, we are all playing a role, and then I'm going to play a short clip from the Minister of Youth Empowerment, the Honorable Iselin Phillip. So the government of St. Kitts and Nevis' comprehensive approach to crime prevention is yielding results with a decline in homicides recorded over the past 4 months. While speaking recently on a national platform, Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, credited this success to community engagement, targeted interventions, and the adoption of a public health approach to crime. He said, and I quote, "Our success in reducing violent crime is proof that we don't have to be corrupt to solve national security challenges. By bringing together law enforcement, community leaders, social services, and the private sector, we are creating long-term solutions rather than temporary fixes," end quote. The government's Citizen Security Advisory Council has been actively working with at-risk communities, focusing on preventative measures and social interventions. This collaborative effort has been instrumental in addressing the root causes of crime and fostering a culture of peace and security. In addition to community engagement, increased investments in law enforcement training and technology have enhanced crime prevention efforts. The administration has prioritized the recruitment and training of new police officers, equipping them with the necessary skills to effectively serve and protect the community. The adoption of a public health approach to crime has also been a key factor in the nation's progress. By viewing violence as a public health issue, the government has implemented strategies that address the underlying social determinants of crime, leading to a more sustainable outcomes. The Prime Minister encouraged all citizens to remain engaged in building a safer society for future generations. He emphasized that the fight against crime requires a collective effort and that the government's initiatives are designed to empower communities and promote social cohesion. That was the Prime Minister speaking at the recently held Prime Minister's press conference on the work of the Citizen Security Unit, the local police, and what we have been doing as a community, engaging the community, targeted interventions as it relates to addressing the issue of crime and violence that we have been grappling with and dealing with for quite some time. I think we have seen a significant reduction in violent crime, and that is not the work of one sole entity, but the work of the community, everybody working together, putting the different ideas and plans and strategies together and having those successfully rolled out. And this is something that we would want to see happen continuously. The continued collaboration between police, government, and the community would only yield positive results. We now have a clip by the Honorable Iselin Phillip, who was speaking recently on the issue of citizen security, and she spoke to the work that entity has been doing to address crime and violence here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
In relation to citizen security and the Advisory Council and our plans in regards to that. So the question, of course, in relation to the reduction in homicides and the fact that we haven't seen any, as the Prime Minister said, I believe is attributed to a combination of things, not only the efforts from national security in relation to law enforcement and criminal justice, but of course because of the response that we've been getting and the efforts we're really making to engage with the community, which is what we're really trying to do through citizen security. By making sure that we have very strong community engagement, so we do have all hands on deck and everybody taking responsibility for making sure that we can, in fact, create peaceful and safe societies and communities. In terms of plans moving forward, we would have launched the 90-day campaign last year to where we started, and we went into the communities for community conversations to get everybody involved and sharing their own views. We do plan to continue this year by re-engaging the communities in a different way, where we hope to really be able to be responsive to some of the needs that the communities expressed. Of course, we want to continue working very closely with national security because they do have the information and data as to which communities and which areas are hotspots for criminal activity and have more of a proclivity towards violence. And we want to also continue with the partnerships with the Ministry of Education because, of course, as the Prime Minister says, in terms of applying the public health approach, we do need to be able to interrupt the transmission of violence where it starts, and it's among our at-risk youth and children. And so we want to make sure that we can strengthen the partnerships with the Ministry of Education by being able to continue with data collection, which is very important, so that we really understand the issues and the challenges and the problems so that we can, in fact, create interventions. And we want to be able to continue creating interventions in partnership with the communities, with the private sector, with all citizens, and also to be able to empower non-governmental agencies to be on board in supporting the efforts. This is really definitely most literally an all of society approach. And that is really what we will be consistently pushing and pressing.
That was Iselene Phillip, the Honorable Iselene Phillip, Minister with responsibility for the Youth Empowerment in St. Kitts and Nevis, speaking on the work of the Citizen Security Secretariat. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. Stay with us.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes your country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
Guess what? March Madness is here with ZIZ, celebrating 64 years strong where your brand belongs. St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to level up your business with the biggest ad sale of the year. We've got it all at crazy discounted rates. Radio, TV, and social media. Want to make big sales? You need to be where the people are. And guess what? They're tuned into ZIZ, the #1 broadcast network in the Federation. Maximum reach, unbeatable deals, and 64 years of trusted media power. Don't get left behind. Secure your spot now before they're gone. Call our marketing team at 662-8203 or email sales@ZIZonline.com today. It's ZIZ March Madness. 64 years strong, where your brand belongs.
Hello and welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today, Thursday, March the 13th, 2025. We'll open the phone lines now and begin taking your calls at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. Call us and lend your voice to the conversation at hand. We're looking at citizen security, crime and violence, and the reduction that we have seen here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is attributed to the work of the community, where we came together and we shared different ideas as to how we can address this issue. And it is an issue that is continuous in the sense that we must continue to address it. We must continue to do the work necessary as it relates to addressing the issue of crime and violence. It is not something that you look at today and then tomorrow you completely put it aside. It is something that is continuous. And there are some people who would tell you that, this is something that has to, they will give different views as to where they believe the issue of crime and violence begins. Some argue that it begins at home. Others argue that it begins at school. Others argue that it begins in the community because of peer pressure, bad influence, and all of these different things. But when you look at some of the data that has been presented, you would see that all of what I've just mentioned are some of the contributing factors. Home, the environment in school, the environment in the community in terms of peer pressure and bad influence and all of that. Those are some of the factors that contribute to crime and violence. You're talking about living conditions in terms of those people or that person is employed, are they able to provide for themselves? And so when you find that those are some of the things that they struggle with, they tend to, resort to crime. There were some statistics released, I believe it was either earlier this year or last year. I believe it was last year. And it basically presented a study on the some of the reasons why young people or people, generally venture into the life of crime. And there was some who were saying, no, we're doing this for protection. But it also begs the question, why do you see the need to want to be protected in the first place? But some say they join for protection, some say they join because of influence from their peers, others join so that they could get money, whatever, deals and so on they have going on in there. But there are a number of reasons. That is why it is important for us as a community to continue to share our ideas, our perspectives as to how we could tackle this issue. One person would not have all of the ideas as to how we continuously tackle and deal with the issue of crime and violence. I may have a different idea, you may have a different idea. We put those together and we see how we can get some real positive results. Things that may be taken for granted, or things that we may take for granted, like those after school programs, those programs in the community where we engage with younger people, the programs that the police and social development or youth empowerment have going on. Those programs are essential. And I remember the point that was made some time back when you're talking about crime and violence, where it was stated that it's not really the police's job on the preventative side of crime. It is them for peace and security, in a sense, controlling it, dealing with it when it is now here. But the preventative side of crime is more of that early intervention, and targeting those who may be at risk. But that early intervention is what we're talking about when we're looking at the preventative side. And so it means the after school programs, the programs in church, the program in the community, and all of these different things. These are more on the preventative side. Then when we begin to invest in infrastructure, equipment and resources for our local police and defense, that is when you're now looking at the fighting of the crime, now that it has arrived. But on the preventative side, a lot more focus and attention needs to be paid there, because it has to come about in the sense that it must have started somewhere. And so let us look at where it is starting, where the breeding ground is, right? And then we try to nip it in the bud right there. We try to attack it this or so. We try to aggress it right there. And that is what the approach, has been, looking at what is causing the issue and addressing those issues. Things like unemployment, ensuring then that there is adequate jobs for our people to take up, and more so long-term jobs. These are some of the things that one must really take into consideration when you're talking about addressing the issue of crime and violence in our communities. When you're talking about gun trafficking and all of these things, we know that that is an issue that we continue to grapple with. That is an issue that we continue to grapple with in the region in terms of gun trafficking. And, we argue that we don't manufacture these things in the Caribbean. At least what we know. We don't manufacture these things in the Caribbean. And it also begs the question, how are these things getting into our country? How are these things getting into our borders when we don't manufacture them? And those are very, very serious matters. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll keep the conversation flowing. The phone lines remain open at 662-8674.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
In the sun or in the rain, life's a journey, joy and pain. But NCI's here day and night, always here for you, making it right. Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very
At National Caribbean Insurance, you are covered and secure. We're your partner, your protector, your peace of mind. So for home, for health, for life, choose NCI because we're always here for you. Always.
Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very end. Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very end.
Healthwise on ZIZ TV, Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Hosted by Dr. Monique Lescott, Dr. Jolette Woodley, and Dr. Patrice Lawrence.
The views and opinions expressed by participants and callers during this program are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation, its management, or sponsors. The station accepts no responsibility for statements made. Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96. Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Thank you for joining me on the program. It is 11:25 a.m. and we're taking your calls at 662-8674. That is 662-8674. For those of you who are just joining the conversation, we are on the topic of crime and violence in St. Kitts and Nevis and the work of the Citizen Security Secretariat and what they have been doing. Recently, there were some, they dubbed it Day of Interruption, where they went into primarily the schools across St. Kitts and Nevis. I think Nevis was earlier this week. And they interacted with the students there. It was the ministers of education in both St. Kitts and Nevis, so Dr. Jeffrey Hanley and Troy Liburd in Nevis, as well as some other government officials. But the idea was to, go into the schools and speak with the children about, the staying on the straight and narrow. But it was the first of its kind, the Day of Interruption, and it took place across the schools in St. Kitts and Nevis. So let me just share some quick details about that Day of Interruption. So the Citizen Security Task Force hosted a day of interruption across St. Kitts and Nevis, engaging with the primary and secondary schools on both islands. And it was organized through the Citizen Security Task Force. The event was a national student intervention initiative which was launched to stop crime and violence while encouraging safer communities across the Federation. Several government officials, community leaders, law enforcement, local influencers, and business leaders attended primary and secondary school assemblies and shared words of encouragement and personal life experiences to motivate students in making the positive life choices. Prime Minister Drew was one of the keynote speakers at Washington Archibald High School, and he said during the assembly that the government is fully committed to create a safe learning environment where students can grow and contribute to building St. Kitts and Nevis into a sustainable island state. He further addressed the issue of peer pressure and said that it is one of the things that lead people to do bad things, and encouraged the students to resist peer pressure and not to do anything that is or feels wrong. Co-chair of that task force, the Honorable Iselene Phillip, appreciated the speakers and community volunteers who responded to the call to help stop violence and aggression from spreading among the youth. She said that the main objective of inviting people from different parties, criminal justice system, and community leaders as special guests at different schools was to help spread the campaign message to make sure that they find a long-term solution to stop crime and violence. Minister of Education and the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, appreciated the initiative to engage students through presentations to share positive and insightful messages to inspire positive change among the youth and promote a safe and peaceful environment. The Foreign Affairs Minister, Dr. Denzel Douglas, joined the staff and students of the Sadler's Secondary School for the day of interruption and discussed with them the dangers of crime and violence on the community and the country. He also shared some glimpses from his meeting with the students on his official Facebook page. He encouraged them to choose wisely, act responsibly, learn and lead and move forward. And that spells out calm. Choose wisely, act responsibly, learn and lead, and move forward. On Nevis, the Minister of Education, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, and the Minister of Education in the NIA, the Honorable Troy Liburd, along with the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Latoya Jones, visited the Ivor Walters Primary School, I believe it was, and the Cicely Brown Integrated School, to also speak with the students there and to encourage them to act responsibly, to encourage them to not to bend to peer pressure and all of these things. But it shows that the day of interruption was successful, and I think we will want to see more of this activity happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. As I'm sharing the details about this, I'm reminded of the youth forum they had. I'm forgetting the name of it, but it was a youth forum they had over at Marriott, which was also to engage young people on the topic of crime and violence. I think we had a call, but we lost that one just a while ago. The phone lines remain open at 662-8674. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take our first call for the morning. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm not doing so bad for my age. And good morning to the listeners home and abroad. Carl here. Two questions before we hit the topic of crime and how contraband and weapons and things enter our land. Two questions. Have the Athletic Association, the Ministry of Sports, the Minister of Sports confirmed yet where the inter-primary is going to held, what stadium, and which island of the federation? Also, have those organizations confirmed where the federal high school championship is going to held, whether in St. Kitts or Navy, and what stadium? Because people are waiting and people are wondering, and time is drawing very close and very fast. And we are hearing rumors that those two championships cannot be held at the Kim Collins Stadium because of issues and development that they have going on up there.
So at the last press conference, the Minister of Sports, Samuel Duggins, he gave an update on it. He said one of the reasons why the facility is not ready as yet is because of the persistent rainfall that took place over the last couple of weeks, and so it delayed the work. The work is happening, but it was delayed because of the persistent rainfall. And if the rain continues to fall like that persistently, it may not be completed in time for the staging of the sports. And they may have to consider going back over to Nevis.
That's for the Federal High School Championship. Did he state where the St. Kitts Inter-Primary Championship would be held?
Well, I don't think he spoke specifically to that, but around what time is that normally held?
I think it's supposed to be held around next week.
Okay, so if it's to be held around next week, and then so that's next week, and then the high school one that'll be like the last week in the month or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, so if the high school one, if it doesn't look like they're going to be able to hold or host the secondary one, chances are they're not going to be able to host the primary.
Well,
because the primary is supposed to be next week.
What the agents and the street is talking saying is that the inter-primary will be held in Sandy Point next week. That is coming from the streets.
Oh, I haven't heard any update on that.
Because nobody's saying nothing, so people are speculating on little rumors and little clips and little hints that they get. And there shouldn't have people speculating because these are annual championships held around this time. And they should have come and tell the public something. The public ain't supposed to be asking them these questions.
Yeah, you're correct.
No, you ain't supposed to be waiting until the clock strikes 12 to then come and tell people something. Remember, you have people organizing all kind of things. You have the vendors, you have all kind of people. People want to know how to start to prepare and prep for those championships. And the athletes, them and coaches and things should have done something so they can prep and prepare the athletes and prepare themselves to whether travel across the water, travel down to Sandy Point or somewhere else.
Well, I haven't heard any details about the championship being held in Sandy Point, but if it's next week, then obviously they can't have it at the Kim Collins Stadium.
Well, listen here. I have spoke to a number of persons living around the Kim Collins Stadium, and they told me 2 weeks ago, I didn't say anything, I was waiting on the minister, that the people who are doing the work up there are not working efficiently and they sit down too much. These are folks who live around the stadium, who would see everything that's happening, who could stay in the yard, on the landing downstairs and upstairs, and see what is going on over there. Yeah, they said they sit down too much up there. Onto the contrabands and things that come into the island. Listen, we have all open borders, so don't bother ask. I hear people asking how these things come in the island. If all your borders are open, what you expect? And our own people are bringing them in too. And everybody go fishing, bring back fish, eh?
It means that the Coast Guard has work to do then.
The Coast Guard always have work to do, but the Coast Guard don't have any help. I remember last year our Prime Minister said he was down in the, what you call on the what? The AIE, where down the name. And he was going to get 2 brand new Coast Guard. That was since last year. This is another year. We have not heard anything since then. You remember they went on a big tour down there. And one of the things he said that he was seeking 2 brand new Coast Guard. Right? Something like that. And we ain't hear anything about that again. Also, the talk was they were down there also looking efficient energy and new engines and so for our power. You remember those? I'm sure you could remember those discussions.
I honestly don't, but I definitely can check it out.
Well, check it out because those things were said. And the other thing is the one little Coast Guard and the 2 little small little helper they got cannot secure our borders under our federation. It's so small. Mm-hmm. We have to find other efficient ways. We have to work with technology to help our small little Coast Guards. Then we have, and the small fleet of efficient Coast Guard men and women that work there. We have to advance ourselves. I keep saying to them, we need to advance ourselves now in drones. We don't have the manpower. We don't have the motor power. So we need to advance in drones. Let us have drones out there patrolling and then have a base where we could look and see who is coming, who is landing off what, who is passing what, and that sort of thing. That is how you're going to capture these things coming in. In every yacht and cabin cruiser coming in here just to look at our nice sea, sun, and sun. Mm-hmm. These are things we have to be checking, right? And if we don't have drones to help us, we will never get to work done. We will be on the station year after year, month after month, week after week, and asking the same question and not putting any ideas and any programs and policies in place to help our situation. But yet our children dying and our friends dying, and we are asking how we know how to get in here. Stop say how they get in here. We know. Let us say what we can do to stop them from getting in here. Mm-hmm. Go on, my boy.
All right, caller. Thank you so much. Let's go back to the phone lines. We'll take this call. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'd like to see you in your new office. The number will be the same when are you finish? Because the advertisement just come on 465. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. What I want to say is that I'm hearing that the money what they're giving out, people must come again. But this is 3 months in the 6 months. So if they give some more, they would not just advertise. You know, the 6 months at 250 is 1,005. What second Donald that since about say he gonna give if they get in. So
sorry, I didn't. I'm not understanding what you're saying. I'm sorry.
I said. I hear advertisements say that people must still come for the 250. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I said 250, they part it in 6 months. 6 months. That's 1,005. What Second Donald was to give if they get in. So it's a tricking things.
What's a tricking thing?
No, we'll be 250 now for 6 months. That is 1,005.
Yeah, but how is that a trick?
No, but okay, that's my logic. It ain't comes to you.
No. Well, I hear what you're saying, but I was just trying to understand how is it a trick?
And give the 1,005 one time.
Yeah, but I don't see how that's a trick. They did explain from the beginning that they were going to, with this program, that they were going to give it over a 6-month period instead of a one-time payment.
I wasn't listening, but it's 6 months, one-time payment is the same 1,005. And with the crime, they wasn't used to help. So this shoe and the foot now. See you.
All right. Okay. All right, Carter. Thank you for your contribution to the program. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. It's 11:43. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge.
From the heart of ZIZ Radio comes a political talk show like no other. The Edge, with host Devonne Cornelius giving you his take on the biggest stories happening in governance today. Got something to say? Let's hear it. Give us a call at 869-465-2555, Monday to Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 noon. One solid hour of in-depth analysis of the machinery that makes our country tick. The Edge, cutting into the matters at hand.
In the sun or in the rain, life's a journey, joy and pain. But NCI's here day and night, always here for you, making it right. Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very
At National Caribbean Insurance, you are covered and secure. We're your partner, your protector, your peace of mind. So for home, for health, for life, choose NCI because we're always here for you. Always.
Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very end. Always here for you. Always. With NCI, you've got a friend. Always here for you. Always. Right here till the very end.
Guess what? March Madness is here with ZIZ, celebrating 64 years strong where your brand belongs. St. Kitts and Nevis, it's time to level up your business with the biggest ad sale of the year. We've got it all at crazy discounted rates. Radio, TV, and social media. Wanna make big sales? You need to be where the people are. And guess what? They're tuned into ZIZ, the #1 broadcast network in the Federation. Maximum reach, unbeatable deals, and 64 years of trusted media power. Don't get left behind. Secure your spot now before they're gone. Call our marketing team at 662-8203 or email sales@ZIZonline.com today. It's ZIZ March Madness. 64 years strong, where your brand belongs.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio, 96.1 FM. The phone lines are open. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Good morning.
Greetings.
Yes, greetings. You're on the air.
Thank you very much. Okay, somebody just informed me and said they had an accident on the road, this small vehicle accident, and somebody died. Is that so?
Yes.
We said it, and we're going to keep echoing it, that license, a lot of license, not just few, a lot of license need to be revoked, taken back. Because the road Ain't nothing wrong with the road, you know. Just like how Luan saying, ain't nothing wrong with the world, the people in it. The road is good to go, apart from the potholes and what need sorting out. It is some elements that is on the road that shouldn't be behind a wheel. Whether it's a bus, a car, a truck, a motorbike, whatever. They shouldn't be on the road. Period. And I don't know how long it is going to take the system to recognize this. People can call out human rights all they want. Some people, you know what is the trend right now? Drinking and driving.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
All color drinks, blue, purple, pink, this, that, and smoking too. Drinking and driving and smoking. And don't bother talk about the phone, the distraction of the phone. And the loud music. I mean, how long are we going to allow this to continue? How long? Those in authoritative position who ought to be doing something about this, is all they're doing is just talking, just like the nastiness. No, if they're not implementing nothing touchable to make these things stop and be no more. These things just continue with me like disease. It's terrible. I'm on the road, I walk and I ride, and I see the mentalities of a lot of people behind wheels, if not most. They need to be taken off the road, revoke their license, take them back, ban them from driving. Give them to the time, blessed Lord.
The caller, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. You're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius. Yes, we and you know, every day when I end this program, I share with the listening audience. So I encourage those under the sound of my voice to don't drink and drive, don't text and drive, you know. I'm not suggesting that is what was the case. That was the case, this morning. But every day I do that. Every day I do that, you know, encourage our people. Don't text and drive, don't drink and drive because of the dangers of that. You're putting your life at risk and the lives of others. And I will continue to do so, to encourage our people. I've seen where, you know, the police and the National Assembly, our parliamentarians, they went back to the parliament and they introduced new laws to address the issue. There is even a committee to address this issue. And I was having a conversation the other day with somebody about this thing about the driving and the speeding and all of that, and the drunk driving and everything. And their response was, oh, the police and the government ain't doing nothing. I said, stop it. I must stop it, man. Just the other day, they went back to the parliament and they passed new laws to the point now people are saying, well, men have the money to buy a car seat, but not buy none. I mean, this is for your own safety. So on one hand, we're saying that we want, you know, more safety measures, more stringent laws. Here comes those safety measures. Here comes those stringent laws. And when they come, we reject them. We reject them. We're like, we don't want them, but at the same time, we want them. You know, it's not good. It's not good on our part. It's really not good on our part. But I'll continue to do my part in encouraging our road users to please take it easy on the road and drive safe. You know, drive safe. Really, really, really drive safe. Take it easy. The rushing and the speeding, it's totally unnecessary. Because again, you're putting your lives at risk, and you're putting the lives of those that you love at risk. It is 11:51, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me on the program for today. We were on the topic of crime and violence in St. Kitts and Nevis, and the work of the Citizen Security Task Force and the Secretariat, and what they have been doing, engaging with our community on the issue of crime and violence. Let's head back to the phone lines and we'll take this call. The caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, Devon. How are you?
I'm doing well. What about you, man?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm just come from the animal, I got that 4-wheeler bike now, so you help me around good now, Feel more comfortable. Kind of there in the pen. Anyway, Devon, I want to thank God for life. And thank God for this federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. A blessed country, and a country where we think we could do plenty better as human beings. And I want to thank God too for this behavior of these young men in these few months that ain't going down one another like that, like before. These are things that we got to analyze and think about and really pray. But there are something else. Yesterday I was in Bastia. I was in the circus, and a young man complaining to me there. I see him in town with a match in his hand. So he told me that he's working for the health department, so they're doing some work, cleaning up tongue and cutting out the grass, them out the gene and so. And I asked him that if he don't do business now, because he's a farmer. He plants coconut tree and all those things, and plant different fruit trees. There are plenty of coconut trees. So I tell him I was up this soil the other day. He doing farming at Buckley's. And I asked him, what with the coconut, them up there dropping off, man, and they're just getting hard. He said that he chanced down and he had a chance to distribute he coconut them. He paying bank and he went to some assistant. He said paying development bank could pick up the truck still. But he went to some assistant from, the government, he representative in government, that they could provide something when we get a little job with the truck, that he could continue to pay the bank and so. And these are fellows who used to be things. And when I see these fellows doing, find an entrepreneur skill for their own self, I feel good. Because I know the guy growing up young, and my grandmother, and my auntie, and him, and I know them. So these are things that when these guys vocal in politics too. And there's more labor than anybody else, Because we tell them labor they want to fight in them time. But they grow up now and they're not better. So I believe things like them, helping them, instead of going back into this violent kind of entanglement. It better for the country, and it better for them, and it better for everybody in the country. So I just calling on the politician, them man. Man, help the lesser man, them who want help. A lot of people who go into these bank assistance, they don't must give them no assistance because they could help themselves. A lot of people who go to politician who help, they could help themselves. But they just deliberately want to go because maybe they vote and this and that. But these are guys who are willing, they're willing. And when I see the coconut and chili man produce and so, I'm got the amount of coconut you plant. I said, man, boy, you're doing well, man. You're not telling lies. Okay, then, Devon, man. You have a wonderful day. God bless you. And God bless the Federation again.
All right, you too, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. It's 11:57, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Let me say thank you so much for joining me on the program for today. For those of you who are just tuning in, we were speaking on the topic of crime and violence and the work of the Citizen Security Task Force, Secretariat, and what they have been doing as it relates to crime and violence, and the work that you have been doing to assist in addressing this issue. Until next time, you guys continue to stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday and be responsible in driving. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. The caller before was so right in the sense that there's a lot of intoxicated drivers and drunk driving and the texting and driving happening, and every day or ever so often we see examples as to why we should not do that, but we still engage in doing so. There are going to be times that you're going to drive a little bit faster than you're supposed to drive, and the reality is nobody expects you to drive your vehicle like a turtle. But at the same time, we don't expect you to drive your vehicle recklessly and endanger your life and endanger the lives of people around you. You have to remember the occupants who are in your vehicle, or the pedestrians, or so on. And so I'm going to continue to use this platform to encourage every single one of you under the sound of my voice to take it easy on the road, drive carefully, and, remember that you're not just driving for yourself, but you are driving for others. You're the pedestrians and people who use the road on a day-to-day basis. And until next time, you guys, stay safe. Coming up at noon is our midday newscast.